vocabulary that you need to know. And the reason why I say that is because I want to teach you different cliches in English. And the very fact that we're talking about cliches means that these expressions are often used, which is why I said they're important to know. You'll hear them in just casual conversation. And again, you can even use them depending on the situation that you're in. And I have quite a few that I want to go over. So I said that the very fact that we're talking about cliches means that this vocabulary is commonly used. So what is a cliche? In case you're unfamiliar with it, it is a phrase, remark, or opinion that has very often been expressed before and is therefore not original or not interesting. Now, generally, when people think of cliche, maybe they have a negative association because they, oh, it's not very creative. But like I said, this is all about building your vocabulary, teaching you different words and phrases that you are likely to come across. And that's why I think cliches are important. And by the way, if you want to get these lesson notes, you can click on the link down below in the description, join my email community, and you can access the lesson notes. If you're already a part of the community, then I have sent them to you. So this is a quiz lesson. I want you to participate, and let's see how much you already know when it comes to these different cliches. To begin with, I'm giving you the context in which it's used down below. So this cliche is used to justify delays or tardiness. And you could say this statement. I've blanked out most of it, but I've given you the word never. That is the last and final word of this cliche. So there's some situation, I'm late or tardy, and I just want to justify it, and I could use this expression, which is one that I imagine once you hear it, you'll, okay, yes, I've heard that before. So the cliche that I'm talking about, excellent, see some great answers, better late than never. So as an example, if I were to say, sorry, I submitted my report right after the deadline, but better late than never. So you did not do something on time, and it's like you're trying to say, well, this is actually a positive because it's better than never getting something at all or never doing something. Better late than never. So this is a fun expression that you can definitely use. I feel like often I am late to do something. I don't do something on time, and better late than never. All right, excellent. Great response. I'll try and give some shout outs as we go through this. Now, I wanted to share, I'm going to share some memes and quotes just to kind of mix it up to give you some more context. But I thought this was just funny when I saw it. This plane, crashed, and he's ejecting at the last minute, and yeah, better late than never. It's true. It's true. What do you think about this one? I think this is one that, I don't know, you could probably go out and use this cliche tomorrow. And this would be used when you want to say that, well, someone is in a bad mood. And you're basically commenting that this person is in a bad mood. Now, you could say it directly to that person, or maybe you make a comment to someone else saying, oh, look, this person's really in a bad mood. I'm giving you 3 words, which are part of the cliche. This is a sentence, again, that you will often hear. And I feel like once I show you, you'll be like, oh, yes, I've heard this before. On the wrong. How would you complete this sentence? So if I am in a bad mood and you, want to acknowledge that and comment about it, what would you say? So, all right, excellent. So we're not talking about getting off on the wrong foot. Because if you get off on the wrong foot, that means kind of like, okay, you didn't, get along really well at the beginning. If you just want to say someone's in a bad mood, and I'm giving you these pictures to kind of give you a little bit of a hint to wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, the sentence that I wrote, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Generally, when you use this, you're going to use it in the past, woke up, because you're talking about someone who is already awake and you're referring to this morning that, wow, okay, this person, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Keep that in mind, that you're often going to use this in the past, woke up. So, for example, I say, well, he's been in a bad mood all day. Someone must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed. Now I'm using it with that modal and the past participle, must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed. But just keep that in mind. You're talking about someone who is already awake, and you want to say that they're in a bad mood. And yeah, this person woke up on the wrong side of the bed. The other thing I will say is really you are going to say someone. Now, you could actually say the person's name, but in general, I feel like you would just say someone. That is part of the expression, which is the cliche. Someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And this is a funny little comic. It says, Howie unwittingly gets up on the wrong side of the bed. And you see that bear trap, the bees, the skunk. And yeah, I would be in a bad mood as well if I woke up on that side of the bed with all of those, the snake. Yeah, it's not good. I would not be happy. I'd be in a bad mood as well. How about this next cliche, this next statement that you might hear? This one I don't think is as often used as the others that we just talked about, but this is used to emphasize solidarity and support within a group. And you could say, one and You can use that picture and probably guess when you say, okay, I recognize what's going on here. This is a very well-known statement that, well, I don't want to give it away. But if you want to emphasize, that, hey, we're working together, we're part of this group, you could say this statement, but keep in mind, again, it is not original, because it comes from this story, movie, I'm kind of trying to give it away a little bit. But what we're saying, or the cliche that we're talking about, is all for one, one for all. So the picture here is from the movie, The Three Musketeers, which was the Disney movie, which again is based off the book, The Musketeers. And this is like what they would say, because they're always, working together, all for one, one for all. And, it's important to work together. As an example, it's important we work together, all for one, one for all, like kind of, cheering that on. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, excellent. Hi, Heidi, Christina, thanks for joining the team. Love it. Love it. Also love those hearts that you guys keep them coming. What do you think? I would be willing to guess that this is a sentence you have definitely heard. Even if you can't think of the answer right now, I know that you've heard this before, and I don't want to tell you, but you would use this when referring to people who will spend the rest of one's life in happiness. And just looking at the context, perhaps, you're going to be able to figure out the cliche. But the final word is after. So think about a story. I'll go ahead and start giving you some hints. You read this story, and how are you going to end the story? Especially if it's like this maybe, romantic story, and they finally get together in the end, and you would say what? So I told you that this is a cliche that I know that you've heard, and they lived happily ever after. The famous ending to many different stories. In the end, she married the prince, and they lived happily ever after. Excellent. I think a lot of you got that because, like I said, I feel like you've heard it. Well done. Heidi, diligent learning. Miranda, Julia, excellent. Here is another little comment. I like to try to bring some humor to these lessons because it just makes learning that much more enjoyable. So this person says, and they lived happily ever after, except for that age thing. As though, of course, they're going to get older and then at some point pass away. So it's not like you're just going to live forever. What do you think about the next one? And this is another one that I do think is pretty common. So you would use this. What is the context? We're going to use this to say that the truth or a result will only be known in the future after events have happened. I know that that is a little bit more to take in, that you're going to know the result or, the outcome at some point in the future, once, these events have occurred. And what could you say? The last word is tell. Now, I think, again, this is, I told you these are common because I feel like you know some of them, which is great, because the idea is hopefully that it's not just a part of your passive vocabulary, but even a part of your active vocabulary, and you can go out and use these phrases. When you are commenting on this situation, this context right here, like many of you said, only time will tell. So only time will tell whether or not you decide to hit the like button. That is true. All right. So maybe some of you hit it already, and I really appreciate that. The others, maybe I'm trying to earn it with this lesson, but only time will tell whether or not you will decide to ultimately hit that like button. I hope you decide to do that. So this is, again, it's a common expression, which is why it is a cliche. And I know that you'd say, well, it's unoriginal, it's not, and this is why I feel like in writing, your people would say, and I would even say this too, try to avoid using cliches in writing, because that is a time where you want to be a little more descriptive and express yourself. But as far as spoken English goes, they're very common, and I think they're actually pretty useful. You're wanting to comment on the situation, like, what's going to happen in the future? Like, well, time will tell. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell if it was well spent. Now, I don't know if this was really a quote from Jimmy Buffett, who is a well-known singer, but I think it is a great little quote. Only time will tell if, the time that you have on this earth is well spent. And we'll see. So I hit the thumbs up. Excellent. I appreciate it. Love it. Love hearing that. Here is another one that before I even came up with this lesson talking about cliches in spoken English, this is kind of what made me think about it, because I said this like a couple of times in the same day. And I started thinking, like, gosh, why am I'm saying the same thing? I should, think of other ways to say stuff, because it's not very original. And then I thought, wait, I've never done a lesson on cliches. And the context would be like to say that a little planning can make the tasks of daily life, or even your, I don't want to give it away, the tasks of daily life much easier to manage. So if you plan well and you really think about, okay, how can I do things better, be more efficient, you could summarize that and comment and say this expression right here, and the last word is harder. So I mentioned that I ended up saying it a couple of different times because, this is something that I constantly feel that I need to do in growing this channel and providing different courses online and wanting to actually provide more and put out some video courses. But I feel like I'm always falling behind and I'm not able to do it, and I need to change things up. And therefore, I need to work smarter, not harder. So you could, again, capture that idea. You're trying to encourage someone, look, maybe try to do things a little differently. You could be more efficient, work smarter, not harder. So don't just work a lot of hours, but try to find ways to do a better job and not have it take up a lot more time. So in the example, I say, you seem like you're struggling with several different projects. I'm giving advice to someone. I think you can be more efficient if you work smarter, not harder. So a good one to keep in mind. I have a great meme for this, which really does, I think, capture this sentiment. And this turtle is absolutely working smarter. Instead of crawling, they find a way. Use that skateboard. You just go much faster on a skateboard. So Once again, I think this is one you've probably heard it before. Maybe you even use it, which I think is great because as far as spoken English goes, cliches I think can be very useful and very helpful. And I hope that some of these, maybe you're coming across one or two that are new. That's always great. Here's the next one. I'm switching it up a little bit. So this time I'm just giving you a sentence, and I want you to try to put it into context. You know what they say, is the best medicine. As we go through this part, I'm going to make it a little more challenging because right here, there's just one word missing. And what word completes this sentence? And I've given you this picture of this cute little cat with glasses on, and you could say, is the best medicine. The other thing I would like to point out is anytime you hear somebody start out and they say, you know what they say, basically you know that a cliche is coming. You know what they say, and then they follow it with a cliche. And I did this on purpose because I wanted to make that known. If you ever were planning to use a cliche, you could introduce it with that sentence. Say, hey, you know what they say? Because everybody says these things all the time, and they're not very original, but is the best medicine. So we're not talking about like, I see some time, not time is the best medicine. Sleep, well, I feel like sleep and time would be great as far as medicine goes. But if this one's new for you, that's awesome. Laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. So you would use this sentence when you want to say, hey, it's good to laugh. It's good for your mental health. And even especially if somebody is going through a rough time and they're a little sad, maybe a little depressed, you want to cheer them up. You're like, look, come on, laughter is the best medicine. It's going to help you, get over things. It's beneficial to your health. Laughter is the best medicine. Here is a funny little comic that I found. Laughter is the best medicine. And then down below it says, unless you're seriously ill, then you maybe should go see a doctor, which is true. If laughter, of course, is good medicine, but yeah, if you're injured, you're hurt, or something else is wrong, then definitely go see a doctor. Here is the next sentence. He will get over the breakup. Time, all, I feel like because I'm giving you that first word, hopefully it kind of rings some bells. And, using that idiom to ring a bell, like kind of, make you think, oh, okay, now I know the answer. So the situation, of course, you're saying somebody's going to get over a breakup, and it's just going to take time because this person right here is hurt. He's hurt, he's sad, and you could say time, all wounds. So I want to say you're close. Instead of cures, because again, that is more of a synonym, but you're not really going to use it. The cliche, excellent, well done, Manuel, Heidi. Time heals all wounds. Now, I will say, because of course there are always differences among different English varieties. I don't know if in British English, maybe people would say time cures all wounds. You will still hear that. But I would venture to guess that if I were to go on Ngram Viewer to see which of these sentences is more commonly used, I feel like more often you would hear heals. Time heals all wounds instead. But I'm not sure. Perhaps this is more common in British English to use the word cures. But you're going to use this to say that feelings of sadness, disappointment, they just gradually go away over as time passes. Time heals all wounds. Another one that's super common that I think many of you have heard before. I thought this was also very true. Time heals all wounds, but dessert heals them faster. Sometimes that is how I feel if I'm a little sad or depressed, and nothing beats a good dessert. I like to indulge in some chocolate, and it kind of lifts my spirits. So in this case, I guess you could say dessert. Dessert heals all wounds as well. How about this one? I hope I get the job. Your. Now, I'm not giving you I'm giving you the word your, which is not which is not that much of a hint, but think about the first sentence. You're saying, "Hey, I hope I get the job. I hope this happens. You want this to happen for me, and I tell you this sentence. I hope this happens, and what?" It's like I'm giving you this command so that you're kind of wishing someone good luck. There are how would you try? We'll try to guess which cliche, which unoriginal statement would best complete this sentence. And once again, I think this is one that you've definitely heard of, and I think you probably use this phrase as well. So if we're talking about, hey, I hope that somebody, gets the job, and I'm telling you, keep your fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I hope it happens. You're expressing this hope that something will happen. Keep your fingers crossed. Again, very common statement. You could just say fingers crossed. That works as well. But you may hear somebody say, cross your fingers, keep your fingers crossed. There are different ways to go about it, but all of them would be considered a cliche because it's so commonly used, but is another good one if, somebody's expressing a wish or desire or something that they hope will happen. And you're like, look, I got my fingers crossed, or keep your fingers crossed. I wish you all the best. Great phrase to know, especially if it's one that you haven't heard of. This one is, I think, very useful, also very common, but one that may be new for some of you. We'll see. So think about the situation. We haven't closed down the business yet. And you hear me emphasizing yet. But the and the final is wall. So I've highlighted and italicized the cliche, the wall. So that is the final word. And I think you can put it into context based on the first part of the sentence. So we haven't closed the business yet. And the fact that I'm saying yet is trying to imply that this is going to happen in the future. And if something is going to happen in the future, then you could say, all right, I see. Well, maybe this was easier than I thought. You say, excellent, fatty acid, Mushtaq, Dawit, Manuel, Talal, Julia. The writing is on the wall. So you could use this expression, this cliche, to say that there are signs that something will fail or no longer exist. Typically, again, you're saying that it's going to happen, but it does have a negative connotation. You're expressing something that is you're upset about, you're disappointed, and you're like, yeah, it's going to happen. The writing is on the wall. You're not going to use this in a positive situation. If I say, I know that I'm going to get the job promotion, this is great, the writing's on the wall, that sounds a little weird. And that is why you're going to use this when talking about, something that's going to fail, or in this case, if a business is closing, it's no longer going to exist. The writing is on the wall. And I don't know if you recognize, I think this is a well-known, I don't know if it's Barnes and Nobles or Borders, like a bookstore in the US that, that just went out of business and they couldn't stay open and they were closing them down. And yeah, you could say the writing is on the wall. How about this? Another one that you know this one. I know you said that you refuse to eat. I know you said that you refuse to eat Thai food again, but say. I don't know if the beginning's awkwardly worded because if I had given you one word, then it would have just been way too easy. So I tried to rephrase this in another way, like, oh, hey, I know you said you refuse to eat Thai food again, but what two words go on each side of the word say? And this is another phrase that you could use very often in casual conversation because people, they tend to say, I know I say never from time to time, like, oh, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. And then you could reply and say, hey, never say never. You never know. So never say never is used to say that a person, should not say that he or she will never do something, because, we always change our mind. And you could use this cliche, like just never say never, this standalone statement. Once again, I would say avoid using this in writing because it just doesn't go as well. This is much more conversational English. And that's why I said cliches in spoken English, because that is how you're often going to come across them. Never say never. And this is not necessarily using the cliche, but kind of a play on words. Soon as you say, my child would never, here they come nevering like they've never nevered before. So it's like you say, as soon as you say, my child would never, cheat. And then it's like, well, here they come cheating like they've never cheated before. This is another expression that you could use to emphasize that somebody is doing something excessively. So this is a fun way of using the word never. My child would never do this, and then here they come nevering like they've never nevered before, that they were just doing a lot of this thing. What do you think? And by the way, there are so many, this is just a small sample of cliches. There are so many cliches in spoken English. You hear them all the time. Like I said, I feel like you use them as well, which is fine. This is great vocabulary to know because we often use these phrases. Our vacation was over in the blink of an eye. This is an idiom. If you say something happens in the blink of an eye, it happens very quickly and kind of like suddenly. Our vacation was over in the blink of the eye. I guess it's true what they say. There's that, let me introduce my cliche. When you're. So which cliche is going to appropriately end this, this statement? Our vacation was over in the blink of an eye. I guess it's true what they say. What? And I feel like it is very unoriginal, but I guess I'm guilty of using this cliche as well as some of the other ones. And it's okay. It is okay to use them in spoken English. So well done, Heidi, Ava, Leonardo, Dawit. Just give a few shout outs. Time flies when you're having fun. So you would use this to say that, time seems to pass more quickly when one is enjoying oneself. I'm sure that you thought, wow, it's been 30 minutes already. That's crazy. It feels like it's just been 5 minutes. We've been learning these cliches. Yeah, it's true what they say. Time flies when you're having fun. You're having fun building your vocabulary, learning these different expressions so that now you can go out and use them. And I hope you are able to use them. This is a fun little cartoon. This is how I feel if every time I've run a couple of different marathons, and both times I felt the same way. It takes a long time because I don't feel like I'm having fun. And they're saying like, are we having fun yet? As though, okay, this is not fun. It feels like it's taking forever. But if something goes quickly, like vacation or these lessons, when you watch them, you think, wow, time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. And of course, you could just say, like time flies. So these are the cliches that we were talking about. Remember what I showed you at the very beginning, just as a little bit of review, that a cliche is a phrase or remark that people use them so often that it is just, it's unoriginal. And they say not interesting, but I still think, in my opinion, they are incredibly useful in spoken English because we use them quite often. And hopefully you can now go out and use some of these as well. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. As always, I hope you learned something new. If you did, then yeah, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. Again, only time will tell if it happens, but I feel like, we are in this together. I want to help you out. You're not alone. All for one, one for all. And if you don't hit the like button today, you can come back tomorrow and do it. Better late than never. and I won't feel that sad. And of course, time heals all wounds. And I'm trying to just use them randomly right now, but I do have to end the lesson. It's going to happen. The writing is on the wall. All right, we gotta wrap things up. So I hope you enjoyed it. Click that link if you want to join the community, get these lesson notes, and